There you go, Steve. Sun halo. Do I wear it like a crown of thorns or wish upon it 3 times? I don't know either.
Hi everybody, it's Steve Olson. It is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016. It is 6:36 Central Time in the United States here where I'm at in Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, USA. What I wanted to start out with was to talk a little bit about the summer solstice that we just went through. And where I'm going to go is to the Encyclopedia Britannica to look at a diagram and to kind of talk about it. So it's the two moments during the year when the path of the sun in the sky is the farthest north in the northern hemisphere. To kind of cut to the chase, when the summer solstice happens in the northern hemisphere, the North Pole is tilted about 23.4 degrees towards the sun. So my question is, when I have somebody in the UK come to me and say, here is my observation is that they have measured a 40 degrees north of the equator. So in other words, we're off by the difference between, the 23.4 or 5 degrees it's supposed to be and the 4 degrees that we're noticing right now. And here's the proof of it. So here he's seeing the sun at about 1/3 the distance between pylon A and pylon B. He calculated that about right there. The line of sight is at 310 degrees. So what we're seeing is a dramatic change of the sun setting more north than it should be, and we're confirming it time and again. And this is an experiment you can do in your own backyard. When there's a sunset tonight, go and look at where it is, if you know where, especially if you know where true north is, and go out and tell me if it's off. If it's off to where it should be. It should be 23.5 degrees north of the equator. So you tell me. And then speaking of, looking at compasses, you can tell here as this goes through this progression, and this person was sitting in a fixed position over this course of a minute, you can see that their compass went in several different directions. And we saw the same thing with Wayne Steiger's observations out in Colorado as well. Turns out with this particular photo, it looks best when I actually put it in the editing software because you can see this movement easier, and it's really hard to do time-lapse photography with the software. But check this out. So we're looking at 22nd June at Wainwright from the FAA advisory weather cameras, which a couple videos ago we actually left the address for. But you can see here, look at this. Look at how the light passes across the top of the orb, which apparently is in front of, or you can almost make it out by the degrees, I suppose, on top here. You could probably even fix a position on it. But again, this is a very interesting photograph. And then the sun actually passes over the orb, see? So the sun at some point was actually casting its light upon the top of it. Very, 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 very interesting. Again, just part of this subscriber network that we have going on here. Here's Savannah Skies, Australia today on the All Sky Cam network. That's the moon, of course, going across because it's nighttime in Australia at this time. But there is a three-dimensional orb crossing their sky in Australia. Again, Australia being way south of our, the further south that you can practically go other than the South Pole. And you can see here that it's just a very three-dimensional orb flying through the air. I wonder if it's one of the planets or maybe even the dark star itself. Okay, so Roy wanted to point out to me that we have a issue up in Grumpy Moose. For the first time, we're seeing Grumpy Moose actually get chemtrailed. And as we remember from the catfish testimony that we did several months ago, these triangles are actually the magnetic signature of those systems that we've been talking about, the planets or suns or both. I'm going to stop here on this photograph, and I am going to go on a rant. And the reason I want to go on a rant is, first of all, the person that did this particular picture, that got this picture and sent it to me, we're going to do a special video just with her photography, and then also taking a look at some of Sharon Harbeck's photography in the next couple of videos. But here she looked at, I think this is a grease cam, and what you can actually see is as the sun passes, we actually see the huge orb in the sky. And when you start to see this kind of phenomenon, you would just really need to understand the kind of the sense of urgency that we're at right now, and that's why I want to just spend a minute and brag on WSO. Just in 1 week, we were able to have our first global local facility area conference call. There were 192 leaders, and our groups are growing, and we're starting to ferret out who's really going to be helping us and not. I also am starting to collect a list which will stay super top secret.